A few weeks previous to shooting the grand 10th anniversary Parkchester special extravaganza, director of the series Boris Cifuentes said that I, Clint Irwin, and Joe, who are featured in the Parkchester series, got nothing going on. I can't speak for Joe, but I, Clint Irwin, will be doing this response video dead.
Go ask the sky. Go ask the sky. Why the hell we had to take the long way down.
That clip was from a song I wrote for the SoundCloud superstars, The Page Collective. The song is called The Pallbearer of St. Jude. That one bit took me 4 days to complete. Part of the reason is that I like to record lots of vocals and pare them down and weave them together. There is a Page Collective song on SoundCloud called Take Down the Moon, where I recorded over 100 vocal takes and pared them down to 30, all sung differently and mashed together. I like to do a take or two in the morning and a ton at night. Evening voice is higher and more passionate. Morning voice is just woken up, deeper, drier, and more detached. Here is a clip of Take Down the Moon to show what I mean. The higher vocal is many evening vocals woven together, and the lower, spoken vocal, where I say, "Pine so high," is from a single good morning take that I selected out. The Go Ask the Sky clip was mixed together from 20 takes. I might do more. I'm singing through a banjo head, and it's hard to get the ring of the banjo strings to stand out. This took me 3 years to write, mostly rewrite. Sometimes I copied whole passages onto paper, making changes on the way, then copied them back, making further changes. This technique brings out a tighter, more natural voice. Sometimes I print out the pages, cut out each line, glue them onto cardboard, then arrange them in a more organized edit, then copy them back into the book. After all that work, 100,000 words, this book is just notes. See, I like to throw away my first idea, and my second, maybe even my third. By the fourth idea, I'm getting somewhere. My fourth idea with this one is to break it up into a series called The Red Suitcase. I'm working on the first part, which is called Weirdtopia. It's history, autobiography, and philosophy with the 50 years since the moon landing as a cultural kind of leitmotif. I have the same stuff going on today as I had 10 years ago. 10 years ago, when Boris started the Parkchester series, I was finishing a novel I was working on for 3 years. I was working on an assemblage painting using oils, acrylics, spray paint, natural materials like bark and flower petals, and found objects. Now I'm working on a book series. I'm also working on graphic arts for each song I put on SoundCloud for the Page Collective. I do as much stuff now, even though I have a job now, as I did all those years when I was unemployed. I get up between 11 and 1, I work on guitar parts or banjo, or record vocals, or do mixes for the Page Collective. Or I work on Weirdtopia. Sometimes I get caught up and I'm running late, but I head out around 2:30 for where I work at the Department of Homeless Services. On the train, I listen to mixes and see what I want to add or fix, or I work on Weirdtopia on my phone. I do this on breaks and lunch hour and my ride home. I get home at 2 a.m. and I mix a new song, or I rework lyrics, or I copy what I wrote into a Word file, or I record guitar and banjo, and sometimes the banjo wakes the neighbors. Boris's cynical response was that everyone is doing that. You know, everyone thinks they are a Renaissance genius, so of course they're all artists too. Well, they are not. They are just tourists and gentrifiers who showed up in the last 10 years where I live. If you look closely, they really don't do the work. A gentrifier is a guy who puts acrylics on pre-stretched canvas and calls himself Basquiat. Basquiat. Learn oils. They force you to work. Take figure drawing and learn the rules so you know how to break them. A tourist is that girl with the ukulele or the guitar.
My mommy and my daddy's. Well, this is disconcerting. My mommy and my daddy used to pat me on the head when I went poopy. I have other feelings too.
It's the girl with a camera who thinks she's a photographer. It's the guy who thinks he is Kanye because he does loops and DJ mixes and raps over them.
My lyrics are mad prolific, Einstein scientific. If you haven't heard them, trust me, they're terrific.
It's that guy who brags about he wrote a book in a month, which just tells me it is pure shite. Do the fucking work. These are the kind of people that thought it would be really cool to be an artist, but they didn't really have any ideas. You have to have ideas first, and art is a means to express them. It's a means to that end. It's not an end in and of itself. You know, that's putting the art before the horse, you know. The worst tourist is the person who acts insulted when you talk about your work or changes the subject and refuses to experience anything you've done. She'll pull out a notebook and show you a sketch and say, "I'm an artist too." They make it all about them. People like Van Gogh and Warhol loved experiencing the work of other artists because whatever insecurities they had, they knew they were the real deal. They were residents who wanted to meet the other residents. I used to be like this until the gentrifiers moved in. I used to think everyone could be an artist. Now I realize that if everyone is an artist, no one is an artist. People want to call that elitist, but elitism is feeling entitled to being called an artist without doing the work. I used to say I knew lots of artists. Now I say I know only 3. Me, my friend Ian, who goes by the name Faster, and Boris Fuentes. Whatever Boris says to me personally about his work ethic, and he is very self-critical, which is part of being the real deal. Whatever he says, he knows he is the real thing because someone like me has never been threatening to him. He always listens to the songs that I put out on the Page Collective and tries to read what I write. He has an insatiable curiosity about how the other humans work and constantly seeks to express it through his work. That's what the real deal is. He does the work. I'm an artistic resident. It seems like I have nothing going on because I'm busy doing the work. There are too many tourists out there anyway who amount to little more than self-promoting pikers. So I don't go out much. If you want to be a real artist, get interested in the stuff other people do. Make the effort to experience it and expect reciprocation. It goes 2 ways. But whether or not anyone shows up in my residence, I do this for me. I did it 10 years before I met Boris, and 10 years before that, and I'll be doing it when all the tourists have moved on.
Kind of got that all finished out. Light at the end of the tunnel. I know you were going. I am.
Anyway, I have work to do. Yeah, Boris is one of the more remarkable people I've met. You know, he's the rhinoceros. He's you know, hard and obnoxious on the outside, and, you know, squishy in the middle. He's people say you have to have a lot of, like, you know, great pain to make great work, but you know that's a myth. You know, 10 years ago it was in a lot of pain. I was going through the greatest existential crisis of my life, in a life full of existential crises, and I do much better work now. I miss the pain though. I felt alive. The only time I feel alive now is when I'm doing great work.